Yo, my name is Drew Vosk. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. I'm full-time mining right now. It's been crazy. I want to take you into my mining farm today. Just real quick, it's going to be real loud. I know what you're thinking. Wow, Vosk, you are so good at wire management. Why, thank you so much. So this is the Digital Shovel Mini Pod. We got this from them last winter. This was really fun. I mean, it's a plug and play Bitcoin mining container they custom made, right? And so I'm operating on single phase electricity. So essentially I have it maxed out. I can't, where did my neck go? Basically, due to the density of single phase, I can't max it out. If you were on 3-phase, 415 voltage, you'd be fine. I could get there either with a transformer, and I'm trading blows with my electric company to try to pull 3-phase out here. But at the end of the day, I got gear and I need to get it operational, especially because I just bought 10 Bitcoin miners, which pushed me along much more quickly than I had anticipated on this. So basically, I'm out of juice now. I have 23 mining rigs in there. I'm mainly mining Bitcoin, but I have some very profitable mining rigs that are mining Litecoin, Dogecoin, Nervos Network, CKB. I'm also mining Dash as well as Ethereum Classic. I have a Cadena miner on the way, latest gen from Bitmain, the KA3. And I also have an S19 XP, which would be great for me because I pay a pretty high electricity rate, about 10 cents per kilowatt hour. And when I'm one day able to move to 3-phase, then I will be mining at probably like 7-8 cents per kilowatt hour, which isn't the craziest thing in the world. But my end game, if you see this field behind me, is to take a couple acres away from the farming we do and then replace that with solar panels and be my own electricity provider. But that's a very capital intensive endeavor. I'm playing the long-term game, we'll see if it pays off. At a minimum, I am never bored. I always have stuff to do. Some people are like, why don't you just buy the coin? And I'm like, shut your boring ass up. I don't want to just buy the corn. Bitcoin, baby, that's what we grow out here. I just don't want to buy the coin. My original plan was to use this. This is a mining shed. Really the second mining shed I built for myself. But basically, I didn't proceed with finishing out the mining shed, even though I had it wired, as you see in here. It's a little toasty. So I have 400 additional amps I can deploy right here. Again, this is single phase electricity. Getting microwave by Starlink above me right now. I'm actually changing gears. I think what I want to do is do an immersion deployment in here. Until then, how's this my shooting range stuff? I'm behind schedule on my immersion mining plans because I've been pretty fixated on hard drive mining recently, along with just simply grabbing more Bitcoin miners. So I'm gonna bleed. I've gone back and forth, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and bleed 200 amps off of my 400 amp service here, which would leave me with a 200 amp mining shed, which would probably be good for a humble immersion deployment. Probably just a pod that can deploy say 10 amp miners, S19s, 10 Bitcoin miners, ASIC miners, current generation, assuming they all pull around 3,000 watts, right? And I overbuilt my gravel pad out here to have room for expansion because I just know myself by now that I can't trust myself. I'm sure I'm going to do some crazy stuff eventually. And the hard drive mining shed it's ordered. It's on the way. From the time of ordering and then getting everything hooked up, basically I have a simple, humble goal to complete this in Q3. I already have the electric service here, which is oftentimes one of the biggest hurdles. I have my internet service out here. I'm mining on Starlink, but I actually have hardwired internet out here through Verizon as well, which is really cool. And also FU Xfinity, outrageous prices, okay? These little sweat bees, they bite me and they sting me like crazy. It's because I'm sweet. But I'm gonna put the hard drive mining shed right here. and I'm gonna pull 200 amps to it. It's going to be insulated, it's gonna have AC, and I'm just gonna deploy a bunch of hard drive miners in there. Right now, all of my hard drive miners are in the field building, which is kind of like VoskCoin HQ. My goal with that was never to mine in there, okay? That's a repair center, that's a warehouse, that's a YouTube studio, whatever. It's everything but mining, but I will mine in there some because I've been mining for, I don't know, like 7 years now. That's crazy. Time goes by so fast. You're young and then you're not. Jeez. But the point here being is that I've been trying to get most of my miners out of the house. Just like that miner sound, you can hear it in the background right now from the pod. It's just, in the beginning, you're hyped. You're like, that's the sound of money, baby. And then years later, you're like, it's getting kind of old. A couple years later, you're like, I'm kind of getting sick of that sound. And the whole time, your girl's like, dude, turn that shit off. Alexa's actually been really cool about all this stuff, especially because she's helped me realize that I'm absolutely a maniac. But hey, yeah, whatever. Anyway, moving on. You may also notice the Bitcoin Supra in the background. So I think that's a really fun way to mix business with pleasure. It's been a really fun topic starter at the track, talking to people about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. I mean, when you get out of the crypto echo chamber, it's really surprising to see, what people think, the general conception, public conception or really misconceptions of cryptocurrency. I've been really shocked the last couple years. A lot of conversations since I wrapped that car have actually led to NFTs and how NFTs are a scam. And I'm just like, geez, man, get off of South Park, because NFTs, I think, are actually pretty cool because there's so many things you can do with them, including digital ownership. I use this example frequently, right? But every digital software you own, whether it's a game on Steam or photo editing software, video editing software, whatever, you should have an NFT of that. It's your own ownership. It's not stuck in Adobe's cloud, and if you lose your account access, they say, F you, buddy. And some people may say, why are you even talking about Adobe? Because they're moving to full-blown subscriptionware. And honestly, I think that's one of the scariest things in the world, is where you just don't own anything, and you rent literally everything. You rent your house, you rent your car, you rent your software. You are just a rat in the maze at that point. That's absolutely terrifying. To bring it back to the mining farm though, right? So that's kind of my general situation of what I've got going on with the pod, the very slowly developed mining shed, the hard drive mining shed that started way later and will rapidly pass it. As it stands with the 2 miners I've got on the way, I'm pretty much out of electricity, for good in that pod. And I'm really looking to get more things set up just so I can slowly scale. I don't have any crazy plans. I don't want to get over leveraged. The more you add, the more there is to do, right? You may notice that box in the back of the Gator, which is the most fun daily driver I've ever had. It's so fun to be doing this stuff here, homegrown, quite literally. In there are air filters, right? So you have this thing that uses ambient air cooling. Pulls in air, right? Runs it through the miners that are hot AF, as the youth says. And then it goes out the back through the exhaust fans. Let's go walk over there and look at the fans that will cut your finger off so quick you can't even say ow. Okay, that's ambient air cooling. It's way cheaper than using air conditioning for cooling. You need a massive AC unit, it's a huge electric drain, whereas I'm just pulling air right through. I mean, it's pretty hot outside right now. It's probably 90 degrees. This air blowing on me is significantly hotter. But the bottom line is that these miner chips, I know, you're probably thinking, dude, your weight's absolutely out of control. I got nothing to say other than it's on the to-do list, and I'm sorry, Dad. Sorry. I once again let you down. I just, he was a landscaper, and I don't know, I just didn't inherit that gene. I hate mowing grass. But my point being, right, and that even adds into it, more stuff you do, the more you spread it out, more maintenance. I mean, he's looking like a freaking forest out here. Weeds. But I need to change the filters, right? I've got all these miners. They have associated maintenance, right? You need to keep them clean to a degree. That's not too often, but even just blowing them out with, air compressor, things like that. There's a couple ways to go about it. But the point is that they bring maintenance in themselves. I think the biggest piece of maintenance I have with the farm is just literally checking every day if my miners are up. If I get a power blip, right? I have no sort of power redundancy here. Power goes off, everything goes off. And when I get a power blip, sometimes some of these miners don't come back online. And most notably, they'll turn off, they'll turn back on, and the fans will be running, and you can access their dashboard, you know, just logging into their IP address, but they're not mining. And it's quite literally so easily and simply fixed by just clicking restart this miner. But that's a manual function. I could be power cycling these, but I would need to be logging into the smart PDUs to do that. And right now I don't have it set up properly to simply put do that. That would be a great function to add, you know, moving forward. That would just decrease my management input. Obviously we have any sort of maintenance stuff like cleaning miners, replacing filters, but my main daily task is just making sure everything's here up and online. I haven't switched over to my hardwired internet, and with the Starlink, that can kind of get bad service when there's a lot of clouds, maybe heavy downpour, things like that especially. Then the performance has been better since I moved it to the roof. Rudimentary barrel deployment. But when I lose internet service, sometimes it can function in the same manner that when I lose power service, that the miner stays online, but it's not actually mining to the mining pool. Recently, I switched to mining on nicehash, which I was making some more money mining on nicehash as compared to some other leading Bitcoin mining pools, especially. But it decreases just like my ease of management of my rigs. I'm mining to a cold storage address instead of mining into my nicehash account. So basically, every time I get a payout, it goes to my cold storage, which is great and secure, and that helps me relax. But I don't get a lot of the features you have if you use their account. And, you know, so there's pros and cons to that, but which ultimately end up with a bit more inputs from me. And that's probably my biggest gripe is I would like to be able to mine to an external account but have full account features. I don't want to be stuck in their ecosystem. I don't want them holding my coins any longer than, you know, they need to by their pool standards. I don't want to have to go in there manually and click withdraw. The auto withdrawal system is just unsatisfactory for me with them. So that's why I've been operating this way. I may not do this indefinitely, but it's working good enough for now. When I bought the 10 Bitcoin miners recently, fired them up, everything's cool, I'm happy. Next day, I realize one's down, I'm wondering why. I go out there and check it, I do the classic, did you try turning it off and on again? And when I did that, the power supply was like, and I was like, whoa! And then, you know, I'm stupid, right? So I do it again, it's like, I'm like, okay, something's wrong here. So I'm thinking just the power supply's broken, faulty, damaged, whatever. And so I need to get a power supply in or scrap one off a miner that's less efficient. The inefficiency, my worst Bitcoin miner I have running right now is my antminer T19. It's got the worst efficiency rating at all my gear. So I may just take the power supply off of that, you know, trying to run a stringent operation here. I've got a lot of miners in addition to what you see in the actual mining pod, but they're all just decommissioned right now due to cryptocurrency prices. They're just sitting in the field building or storage or the shed, whatever. They don't earn more than they burn in electricity costs by a significant margin where it just doesn't make sense any way you slice it. And so why do I have them, right? I have a lot of gold shell miners that have just really not kept up with the recent bitmain antminer efficiency advancements on all these different mining algorithms. I'm talking, you know, about like all the coins I mentioned earlier, right? Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Dash, Nervos Network, Cadena, whatever. And those are the major coins, not necessarily their mining algorithms, right? But why do I still even have those miners? Well, my thought process is, you know, hope for the bull run. Things get crazy. Those become profitable again, right? And at that point, either plug them in if I have the infrastructure to just go ahead and deploy them. Sweet, great. Or sell them. And if they're profitable then, they're going to be worth a lot more than they are now when they're not profitable. you know, it may not pay off. Maybe they'll just fade into the oblivion, and I would have been better trying to get something for them sooner as opposed to quite literally like nothing for them later. I guess, I don't know, you could say it's a calculated bet or gamble. Some of the miners I have projects for that I want to use to heat a greenhouse, just do some heating in my basement, heating in the garage in the winter instead of just running my space heater, because that burns electricity and doesn't do any sort of computation, right? Whereas these miners will literally make me coin and heat the area at the same time. And when you factor that in, running at a loss could make sense, because ultimately your HVAC system always runs at a loss because it just costs money to run, because it's just using electricity. Obviously your HVAC system, your air conditioner unit, doesn't mine you any Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. Ultimately, I've been really happy with my mining endeavor. I've hit a lot of hurdles in a lot of different aspects of this crazy crypto journey on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. But you know, I still chase the dream with all the miners. Obviously, I make videos here on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. I'm working on some other tools and other features that, I mean, hopefully generate revenue for VoskCoin if eventually. But also, I want to add value to the ecosystem, right? I want to create better data aggregators and tools just for cryptocurrency miners in particular. That's kind of still my main focus. I know mining in a way is like a dying breed, but I don't know how else to tell you other than I love this shit. Like, this is fun, this is cool, this is engaging, this is what got me into cryptocurrency, and I won't let the dream die. And, you know, if I don't end up, you know, some rich man because of it, then so be it. You know, it's, you gotta, I mean, at least in my opinion, for me personally, I need to mix, you know, my business endeavors with my passion. Otherwise, I don't try hard, I don't care. It just the fire's not there. And I love this stuff, and I believe in it, and I stay the course, and it's worked out so far, so I'll keep grinding. I hope you stick around and stay the course too by subscribing and sticking around on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. I hope you find some value or entertainment in the VoskCoin content. And, you know, fun fact, this is shot in 4K. Unlike this 10 seconds of Tails clip, because you know we run 10 seconds of Tails on every VoskCoin video, because one, I absolutely love her. Two, she is what absolutely jump-started my cryptocurrency journey years ago, when unfortunately she was knocking on death's door, and I could not be happier that we were able to overcome that, and she's still here today. And I just try to enjoy the time, you know, that we do have together, because as we all know, nothing lasts forever. Just like this video on that sad moment. Maybe not sad, it's probably sad. We're gonna close it out. So hey, hope to see you on the next video. I'll close that one out in a happier manner. I'm a realist, you know? What can I say?